I was seen in a play called Bad Habits by Lily Tomlin, and she just loved what she saw, and she brought me out to California to do the Lily Tomlin Comedy Hour. We won lots of Emmys for it, but they didn't pick us up. ABC picked up Howard Cosell instead. Welcome to Showbiz. And I went on a summer tour with Sid Caesar of Last of the Red Hot Lovers, and I got a call from Los Angeles, and it was Bea Arthur's show, Maud. Bea and I were old friends, and she said, they want you to play this character as a regular. Would you like to do that? I said, oh my God, no, I had no idea. She said, honey, do it. You'll make more money in one day than you do for a week on Broadway. And the phone rang, and it was Rod Parker, and he said, oh, I'm glad I caught you in. I said, where would I go? So he came over, and he sat down, and he said, honey, we've made a mistake. What do you mean? He said, you're like a little Bea Arthur. And so I was fired. And Rue McClanahan got the part. But I was here, and the very next day I was offered everything. But that was how it changed my life. Well, they were funny. It's not an air conditioner. It's an air conditioner. And we did very well with that. That won a Clio Award, and it bought me this house. If you looked at a ceramic outside of my door, in Spanish it says, welcome to the house of Glade. And I was offered Angie, and I got it, the mother. She was quite a character. I liked her a lot. It was Donna Pescow and Robert Hayes and John Randolph, and it was wonderful. We just had great fun. And we didn't go on because someone came to the network and said they didn't think it had a life of 5 years. And so we were canceled. My friend Jimmy Coco called me. He said, I have just been offered a part, and I'm telling you, Doris, there's a part of this that you will kill with. You got to get this. Well, he was retarded, slightly retarded, and she mothered him and took care of him. But he loved her, and she felt, that as a woman she was being loved. And she didn't care that she had to take care of him, but when she realized that her feet had to be removed, and there's a wonderful scene where she screams at him, and he says, he's so timid and he's so childlike that it just broke my heart. That's why I decided not to have them taken off, and I go back out into the street with him. I remember saying, you'll die, and I said, maybe you're wrong. That man loves me. And who's going to take care of him when I'm up here getting renovated? And it just makes me cry when I think about it. The best. Dramatically, the best in television that I've done, I think. My late husband, William Goyen, was very ill in the hospital with leukemia, and I was up for an Emmy Award. And he was holding me, and he said, oh, darling, I hope you win, to prove to the world that you do better work than Love Boat. And then what was so funny was that when I heard my name called, I didn't know what to do with my purse, so I gave it to Jimmy Coco and went up and received my honor and the statue. And then the next person up is Jimmy Coco, and he's coming up with my purse. He said, I don't usually wear one, but Doris gave it to me. And then the next day, he was on Johnny Carson, and he brought my purse, put in a cigar, a half-eaten sandwich, a Milky Bar or something. Got a lot of publicity out of it. I called Jerry Windsor, and I said, I hear there's a part that I'm absolutely perfect for on a show called Remington Steele. And Jerry came in and said to Michael, Doris Roberts would like to read for it. And he said, no, she's too old. And she said, I don't know what to do. I'm so embarrassed. How do I tell her she can't read? He said, let her read. I had a herniated disc hitting a sciatica nerve and did not walk for over 4 months. I had a brace that I wore from my shoulder to my hip of steel in order for me to sit up and not be in excruciating pain. And I wore a muumuu, a big, fat muumuu, and I went in and I knocked their socks off. And I had to be examined. You know, you have to be examined. And so as the doctor came to and I'd had this brace on me, and I knew if he came towards me with the stethoscope, he'd feel the brace and I would not get the job. So as he came towards me, I went, oh. And he said, well, Miss Roberts, I never go anywhere I'm not supposed to go. I said, I know, but I said, I'm very sure. It's the best acting job I've ever done. And he didn't examine me. I was a secretary, but I slowly started to do detective work and became one of their associate detectives as well. We were on the island of Malta and at an old fort that had pieces of metal coming out from the ground that once held columns. And he asked me to run down this incline. He said, you can do that. Just run down here, Doris. I said, sure. That's a word that does not pass my lips anymore. So as I ran down, sure enough, my heel caught one of these pieces of metal, went sliding, bloody, ankle swelling. And Seymour came to me and he said, you think you broke it? And I started to cry and I said, I don't know. He said, okay, next scene. The next time he asked me to do something, I said, get your wife and put her in my clothes. It was awful. They didn't talk to each other. And it was foolish. It was just foolish as could be. And as a result, there was a feeling of you could cut it with a knife when you came on the set. So I sort of did a lot of kibitzing and fooling around to kind of lighten up the spirit. And then finally I just said, the hell with you both. You're both crazy. They read over 100 women for the part before they called me in. I don't know what took them so long, but anyway, over 100 women. And my agent called and said, we have an appointment for you at CBS Monday at 3:30. I said, no, I can't do it. I'm rehearsing this play. I don't have time. And they said, yes, you do. We talked to your producer. You have Monday off. And so I didn't give it the kind of time I usually do when I'm going to audition for a part, but I was so overwhelmed with what I was doing with the play and directing it that I didn't have time. I really didn't. And I went in and I just did it from my gut reaction. And I blew them away, I guess. They said I got every joke and then some they didn't even know they had. She is a control freak. She's a pain in the neck. And I've raised the area of the anatomy about that. She's a Badinsky. I mean, she's so many things that are annoying, but I make you laugh. I'm a cross between Ray Romano's mother, who's an Italian-American, and Phil Rosenthal's mother, who is a German Jew. The German Jew would say, I told you never to do it again, and if you do it again, you will be sorry. The Italian says, I told you never to do it again. If you do it again, you're going to be sorry. So putting those two together is Marie Barone. I am the middle of the wheel because everything goes back to her. How I treat my son, how I treat my daughter-in-law, how I treat the other brother who feels I don't love him as much as this one. All of that goes back to the mother. Les Moonves said, you're the center of it, my dear. There is no show without you. And I think so. If you take her out of it, out of the spin, what have you got? You have a husband trying to get his wife to give him more sex. You have a brother who's angry and feels, a major sibling rivalry. That's what you have. Ray Romano is what you see is what you get. That's who he is. There's a shyness about him. He's hypochondriacal, unfortunately. He's always feeling for things, which is kind of charming. He's someone that I think women want to take care of. He's in on everything. He's in on the writing. He's in on the casting. He's in on the editing. He's in on everything. And my relationship with Peter, I mean, I can give him one look and that tells everything. I don't have to say a word to him. It's like we've lived together for 40 years. They love each other, but they just fight. That's their foreplay. Because we get more said by not speaking any words, I think, those two characters, Peter and myself. The way he can look at me, the way I look at him. I mean, that's a paragraph of dialogue that we don't say by looking, you know. I think he's hysterical, and I think he's funny, and I think he's loved by an audience because he's a victim. The parents have not been as good to him as they have been to Ray, and he's a victim. And to be that big, 6'8" tall, and be a victim is quite something. He's a brilliant writer, and he's a brilliant showrunner because he knows what he needs and how to get it. And he knows where to cut and what not to cut. He knows what to add. He knows the characters very well. No, he's brilliant at that. It's just his technique about talking to actors that needs to be changed. I do not use his voice as Marie. Marie says, "Are you hungry, dear? You want something to eat?" That's the person. Because if I use my chest voice, I become a much different character. And someone you would not necessarily like doing the things that Marie does. The one time I had a disagreement with him about was I was asked to really let him have it. I was so strong in my argument with him that it wasn't funny. You can't do that in comedy. You can be irritated. You can be beside yourself, but you can't do that. And that's what they made me do. And they were absolutely wrong, and I would never do it again. It's the longest laugh we've ever had. They just couldn't stop laughing. And then slowly, when I got out of the car with this innocent look on my face, they went crazy. I have gone to sculpture school and learned to be a sculptress. And I'm so proud of this piece that I've made, this abstract that I believe I've made. And I bring it home and I give it to Raymond as a present. And now I'm with Raymond alone, and I can't believe that people respond to it that way. And of course, Peter, I can't get Peter away from it. Ray tells me what they think it is. And I said, "Do you see what they see?" And he says, "Well, if you squint, maybe." So I squint and look at it. And I said, "Oh my God," because it's a vagina. And I say, "Oh my God, I'm a lesbian." So they asked me what I wanted to take home from the show. I took home the statue. He has his adenoids out, and we're all at the hospital, but I have to go to the ladies' room when the doctor comes out and is worried because he hasn't come out of the ether, and they're a little worried about that. Peter Boyle, my husband, that's Frank, is in bed with me, and he tells me, by mistake, I think. And I jump out of that bed and go across the street to Ray and Deborah's home. And there, I open the door into their bedroom. They are in each other's arms. I leap into the bed, separate her from him, take him into my arms, and carry on. Now, if that's not a nightmare for any son to have, you tell me what is. Knowing it was my last, I gave it all of it. I mean, I put everything on that stage, and that was a great thing to be able to do. Sometimes as an actor, you do something and you think afterwards, "Oh, I should have pushed that a little more. I should have done this." No, I did exactly what I wanted to do, and it's hysterical. I think it will be as famous and go on as long as Lucy. It will be on forever. People tell me they'd rather watch us than watch the news at night at 11 o'clock because they go to bed with a smile on their face. Look at me. I'm perfectly fine. My brain is working very well. I can memorize a script. I can do all of that. I'm healthy. I'm able to run and walk and jump and do all of that stuff. Why should I be stopped from working? I haven't peaked yet. I really haven't. I know that for a fact.